Good evening. We will now reconvene the special city council meeting. Madam City Attorney, please report the closed session action.
There were 2 items on the closed session agenda. Item number 2 was not considered tonight. Item number 1, City Council received a status report. No action was taken. And that ends the closed session report.
This special city council meeting is now adjourned. Before I begin the regular city council meeting, I would like to inform members of the public that I will be taking public comment for non-agenda public comment and for items on the agenda via our teleconference line. Those wishing to address the city council may call 562-299-6622. When I make the announcement, persons speaking are limited to a maximum of 3 minutes, and your comments will be recorded. Once your time has ended, the call will be immediately disconnected. For those who have submitted their comments via email, your comments will be read into the record at the appropriate times during the meeting, and no additional public comment will be permitted via teleconference. I would like to call to order the regular city council meeting. City Clerk Duarte, will you please call the roll?
Mayor, before I take roll, I would like to inform members of the audience that Councilmember Ashton is participating in this meeting via teleconference. Councilmember Alvarez is excused. Councilmember Ashton?
Present.
Councilmember Trujillo?
Present.
Mayor Pro Tem Pacheco?
Present.
And Mayor Frometa.
Present. I would like now to call for the invocation. Senior Pastor Shane Hicks from Legacy Church Downey. Is he on the phone? Is he joining us this evening?
I am here.
Thank you, Pastor Shane. If we can please rise, and if you can lead us in an invocation.
Let us pray. Father God, you sit on the throne of all things, that which we see and that which we cannot see. You are higher than all creation, and in your elevated position, you choose to love us with infinite leadership, guidance, and wisdom. Today we gather in celebration to honor the appointment of our new leader, Claudia Frometa. Romans 13 reveals you to be the one who places leaders, and God, we thank you for bringing a woman of faith, character, and competency to lead the city of Downey and each of us. Almighty God, you are placing Claudia as our mayor in unprecedented times that few will ever have to experience the weight of leadership through. We ask you to alleviate this difficulty, to heal our city, state, nation, and world. Please eradicate the virus that has challenged the life we have come to know, love, and call normal. I ask you to bless Claudia, to bless our city leadership, to sustain them, to elevate them in spiritual power far beyond their own strength. Fill them with wisdom, insight, grace, and humility to lead. In the face of opposition that they will undoubtedly experience, allow them to remember the mercy you offer each of us and to be empowered in a spirit of forgiveness. Equally, God, I ask you to give them an unnatural strength that has the power to overcome your enemies and those opposed to the will you have for their leadership in the direction of this city. In this time of division, I ask you to use our city's leadership and our mayor. Lord, in this time of hate, I ask you to use our mayor and our city's leadership to communicate love. In this time of victimization, I ask you to use our mayor to empower individuals to chart the courses you have for them, as well as all of our city leadership. Ruler of the universe, the nations, and all cities, we ask you to remind us of all the things you have blessed us with. You have given us life. You have given us freedom. You have given us governance founded on the Bible, communicated through the Constitution that grants us the lives we live as Americans. As relates to our beautiful city, may we be led in a direction that honors you and provides increased opportunities for all and an ever-increasing awareness of the gift it is to live in Downey. Guide our decisions. Show us the direction our city needs to be moved. Open the doors of opportunity and the floodgates of heaven's blessings. I pray these things in the name of the God who saved and transformed my life, Yahweh, Yeshua, Emmanuel, Jesus, Jesus. Amen.
Amen. Thank you, Pastor Shane. Madam Mayor Pro Tem Pacheco, would you please lead us with a flag salute?
Yes. I'd like to have everybody please face the flag, place your right hand over your heart. Ready? Begin. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, Madam Mayor Pro Tem. At this time, I would like to make some presentations. We will do the City Council member announcements and requests for future agenda items after our presentations this evening. So let's go ahead and give some recognitions this evening. Good evening once again. Tonight's very first Mayor Legacy Award goes to two very special people. These individuals I've had the pleasure of knowing for close to 20 years since our family began attending First Baptist Church of Downey, now Legacy Church. And when we talk about legacy, we talk about years, decades of service, of making a tremendous impact in our community. Dr. Bill and Connie Kirkwood have been incredibly active members of our City of Downey for many decades, since the 1960s, 1970s. Dr. Kirkwood was a part of the Downey Unified School District curriculum development in the 1970s. He was chairman of the Downey Unified School District Board Committee for the restructuring of the K through 3rd elementary program. And over the years, this amazing couple has contributed in so many ways to our city, not only as the founders and owners of Kirkwood Christian Schools, but also for many years, Dr. Kirkwood was honored to serve as a member of the YMCA Committee for Preschool and Youth Programs. He's been recognized in numerous occasions in the 1990s and the early 2000s with the Association of Christian Schools International Lifetime Achievement Award, and he's also an active Rotarian. Miss Connie Kirkwood, as I said, she has been such a tremendous asset to our community through her involvement not only as a preschool director and administrator and special events coordinator of Kirkwood Christian Schools, but also as someone that has been involved with Gypsy Johnson Auxiliary for the Assistance League of Downey. And she was chair of the hospitality committee for many, many years. Miss Connie is known for her delicious jams that she makes out of her garden. And they were also grand marshals of the Downey Christmas Parade back in 2008. In 2013, they received the Diaconia Award from the City of Downey for their community service. But again, the reason I wanted to extend to you the mayor's very first Legacy Award of 2021 is because of the years of dedicated service and love to this community. Your generosity and your service throughout your involvement in many organizations has had such an impact in our community and in many generations. So I want to say thank you to both of you. And in recognition of your selfless dedication and always going above and beyond for others, Your heartfelt efforts and accomplishments have been of enormous value to our community and have helped to further the common goal of making our city a better place for all. Thank you for leaving a legacy of service and generosity in our community. Given this 12th day of January 2021, Dr. Bill and Connie Kirkwood. You can please come up and receive your award. And Dr. Bill and Connie, if you would like to say a few words.
Well, thank you, Madam Mayor. It's truly an honor for us to be here and to accept this award. You know, we love this community. My parents moved here in 1950. I was in the 3rd grade, Downey Elementary School. Connie's parents moved here even before that. She was 4 years old. And in terms of legacy, Connie was Miss Downey for 21 years and lived on Downey Avenue. So anyway, we've been blessed here in this community, you know, and I think of the legacy that we have of all of the people like our leadership here in this community for years and years and years have built, and it is what it is today, a marvelous place to live and to raise our families. So we are abundantly blessed. One of the great things that we have is all of the friends that we've had over the years progressively. In fact, I got a call from a friend of mine who we graduated together in 61 years ago from Downey High School. So it's that legacy that is so important for us. We love this community, and we are thankful for the leadership and all of the generations of leadership that have gone before us that have made this. So God bless you and all that you do. Thank you.
Thank you both. Connie, would you like to say a few words? Thank you both. You know, you are very special. Connie and I would like to now call on Kimberly Lomeli. The Mayor's Champion Award looks at people that are doing significant improvements in our community. And Kimberly Lomeli is a really outstanding young lady. It was late last year that she shared with me, first of all, she's a student at Downey High School. And she also happens to be one of our Downey commissioners. And when the pandemic began, Kimberly wanted to do something for her community. And she wanted to start a project that would be a blessing to the people that were suffering from COVID-19. And she created a website titled Downey Cares, where people would send COVID letters to patients that are admitted in the ICU for COVID-19. She started this project because it brought to her attention that when people were admitted for COVID, they were alone in the hospital and they wouldn't be able to see any family members. And she thought about how depressing that would be. And it was her hope that these letters that people would write in her neighborhood and around the community would help the patients be aware never to give up. She took the initiative of going to each house in her neighborhood and asking them to participate in making those letters. She also had help from her dad, Peter, and they put up a yellow box in front of their house. And I think we can see some of the letters here. They put up a yellow box in front of her house so that other people in the community could drop off those letters. So far, they've sent 300 letters. That's the yellow box. So far, they've sent 300 letters to Kaiser Permanente Downey Medical, and they've laminated 600 copies onto the food trays so that the patients can get, when they get their food, they can see it. Kimberly knows and understands that these are very difficult times, as we all do, hence the empty council chambers. But it is such a joy to see young ladies and young people like Kimberly Lomelli go above and beyond and be such an outstanding citizen and contribute to her community in such a special way. I would like to recognize Kimberly Lomelli with the Mayor's Champion Award. The award reads, "In recognition of your outstanding citizenship and activities enhancing the community of Downey, your exemplary efforts and accomplishments have been of enormous value to our community and have helped to further the common goal of making our city a better place for all. Thank you, Kimberly, for being a champion for what is good and honorable in our community." Congratulations. If you would like to come forward.
Um, I just wanted to say thank you for my family and my friends and the Downey community for helping me. I had COVID myself, and it was really depressing. Like, my mental health was really challenged, but a lot of people sent me a lot of things, and it really helped me have hope. And I just know that, well, I really hope that my letters would help the Downey community or people who had COVID as well.
At this time, I would also like to call upon Cecilia Goñez and Sonia Bailey from the YWCA. Good evening, ladies. Thank you for joining us tonight. I wanted to present to you this proclamation. Human Trafficking Prevention Month is in January, and we want to continue to bring awareness to this issue. It is today's human slavery, and we want to continue to ensure that our young people and people in general become more educated and more aware as to what we can do to combat this, also this epidemic, because the numbers continue to increase. Sometimes it's not a very comfortable topic to talk about. In fact, is a difficult topic to discuss. But it is important for cities such as Downey and others to take an active role in combating this, this epidemic. I would like to thank Cecilia Goñez for being such a strong advocate in our city and surrounding cities in this topic. And also, I would like to recognize Sonia Bailey and the work that you've done over the last 15 years in the YWCA in the harbor area, also being a vocal advocate against human trafficking. Whereas human trafficking erodes personal dignity and destroys the moral fabric of society, it is an affront to humanity that tragically reaches all parts of the world, including our communities. Each day, in cities, suburbs, rural areas, and tribal lands, people of every age, gender, race, religion, and nationality are devastated by this great offense. During Human Trafficking Prevention Month, we reaffirm our unwavering commitment to eradicate this horrific injustice. Whereas trafficking crimes are perpetrated by transitional criminal enterprises, gangs, and cruel individuals, through force, fraud, coercion, and sexual exploitation of minors, traffickers rob countless individuals of their dignity and freedom, splinter families, and threaten the safety of our communities. In all its forms, human trafficking is an intolerable blight on any society dedicated to freedom, individual rights, and the rule of law. Whereas human trafficking is often a hidden crime that knows no boundaries, by some estimates, as many as 24.9 million people are trapped in a form of modern-day slavery around the world. Human traffickers exploit others through forced labor or commercial sex, and traffickers profit from their victims' horrific suffering. The evil of human trafficking must be defeated. We remain relentless in our resolve to bring perpetrators to justice, to protect survivors and help them heal, and to prevent further victimization and destruction of innocent lives. Now, therefore, I, Claudia Frometa, Mayor of the City of Downey, do hereby proclaim January 2021 as Human Trafficking Prevention Month. I call upon industry associations, law enforcement, private businesses, faith-based and other organizations of civil society, schools, families, and all Americans to recognize our vital roles in ending all forms of modern slavery and to observe this month with appropriate programs and activities aimed at ending and preventing all forms of human trafficking. I will also like to add that we will be participating at the end of this month, January 30th, in the third annual Human Trafficking Conference. This year, because of the pandemic, we are going via Zoom, and more information will be coming. But Cecilia and Sonia, if you can please come forward to receive this.
Thank you very much, Madam Mayor and City Council of Downey. This is an absolutely special honor for us to recognize the YWCA of the Harbor area. And I accept this on behalf of the team because it takes a team of which Cecilia is very much part of that team. And we've been able to expand our reach a little bit beyond the South Bay and Harbor area. And we're very happy to be part of Downey's commitment to the elimination of trafficking in not just this city, but lots of cities. I also want to congratulate the city of Downey to be such a trailblazer, showing other cities what to do. And congratulations for that. Yes, at the end of the month, we'll be having a Zoom. Online. Trafficking awareness session, which everyone should be part of. And we want to have an invitation to every resident of Downey, every parent. This is an important topic. And we want to thank you so much for all the work that you're doing as well.
Okay, if we can now move on to city council member announcements, requests for future agenda items, conference meeting reports. I'm going to go ahead and start to my far left, Council Member Trujillo. Mayor Pro Tem Pacheco.
Sure. Thank you very much, Madam Mayor. I'd like to start off with just welcoming everyone who is watching us here this evening. I know because of the high rise in COVID cases, we have to unfortunately close our council meetings, but I still appreciate you being able to join us here virtually. And I hope everybody enjoyed the holidays, had a Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year. I did want to acknowledge and recognize our new fire chief, Dan Herlock. The mayor and I had the pleasure of attending his swearing-in ceremony last Tuesday. So we appreciate you, Chief. Thank you for your service and for everything that you do in our city. So I'm going to just conclude with just saying again, Happy New Year, and I hope eventually we can open up our council meetings to the public. But for now, I hope you can join us here virtually. Too many of our loved ones are unfortunately getting COVID. Too many of our loved ones are also unfortunately passing away. So I just want to remind our Downey residents and everyone watching us, please remain safe. Please practice social distancing. Please wear your facial coverings when you are out in public. And I hope 2021 is a better year than 2020. I hope we remain respectful with one another. We cherish our loved ones, remind them how much we appreciate and love them. And I look forward to once again seeing all of you in person as the months come along. Please remain safe, Downey. And that concludes my comments, Madam Mayor.
Councilmember Ashton, do you have any comments to share?
Yeah, thank you, Madam Mayor. Good evening, everyone. Happy New Year. Just one item for staff. I've been noticing an uptick on coyote sightings and the such through social media and that. Is there a way that we can have a report brought to council in regards to how our how we're addressing the numbers of sightings that are happening within the city, and just so that way we're up to date on it, and also that way if we can include in our social media to spread the word on the coyote hotline, so we can make sure that the public's aware of what should be done. And also part of that is related to, actually I had a coyote on my yard. I tried to use the Facebook app, or not Facebook, the app, the phone app, and it didn't work. So I wound up calling it in. But if we can look into the City of Downey app as well to make sure that that's updated with right information so we report the coyote sightings. And with that, that concludes my comments. Thank you, Madam Mayor.
Madam Mayor, if I may.
Yes.
Councilmember Ashton, we will certainly get back to you with that information. Typically around this time and then heading into the spring is when we start seeing more and more coyote sightings. So we will make sure that we activate the coyotes out of Downey, if you recall that. That was initiated by former Councilmember Rodriguez. And we will certainly get information out via our social media platforms and get a presentation back to the council on those efforts within the next meeting or so.
Thank you, City Manager. And I just want to say thank you to those of you that are joining us via Zoom, via YouTube. It is always a pleasure to serve you. We begin 2021. This is our first council meeting of the year, and with me presiding as your mayor for this year, I am honored and humbled to serve you, Downey. We look forward to many wonderful things to come. We realize that we have many challenges as well with the pandemic still with us, and with the numbers still continuing to be of great concern. I want to echo Madam Mayor Pro Tem's words in terms of continuing to exercise responsibility when we are out there, and continuing to really do what we can to stop and slow the spread of COVID-19. I also want to congratulate our new Fire Chief Herlock on his most recent appointment as our new fire chief. We are looking forward to his leadership. And I also want to address a couple of comments and emails that some members of our community have addressed to us. And this is in relation to if we are aware of any upcoming COVID-19 mass vaccination sites in our city. As you know, we have a couple of medical centers here, and they are continuing to move in the various tiers for inoculation. And I know in the area surrounding Downey, there are mass vaccinations sites that are being planned, and some of these will be ready by the end of the week. We are hopeful. We remain very hopeful that in the weeks ahead, we will, other members of our communities will be taking part on the vaccination. And I also wanted to recognize the members of our fire department that have taken part in this vaccination efforts. Thank you again for allowing me the opportunity to serve you, and I'm looking forward to a very productive year ahead of us.
Madam Mayor, if I may, along those lines, in terms of mass vaccinations, we did get an email, I think that was sent to Mayor Pro Tem, asking why the city hasn't done anything along those regards, because there are two cities, Pasadena and Long Beach, that have initiated that process. They have initiated that process because they have their own health department. And so we rely on the County of Los Angeles Health Department to organize those mass vaccinations. And as soon as we are aware of those events, we will certainly let the public know. So it's not that the city is not participating or not wanting to do that. It's just that we don't have our own health department.
Thank you, City Manager, for those words. And with that, I would like to now establish, we're going to go ahead and open it for a public hearing, establish residential preferential parking district. Actually, no, I need to backtrack a little bit. We need to go ahead and open up. Let me see.
You're right, Mayor.
No, yes, thank you. Please bear with me. So we are going to open it up for a public hearing, establish residential preferential parking district on the east and west sides of Newville Avenue between Ardeen Street and La Villa Street. Number one, conduct a public hearing, and two, adopt a resolution of the City Council of the City of Downey establishing a residential preferential parking district on the east and west sides of Newville Avenue between Ardeen Street and La Villa. The hour having arrived, the public hearing is now open. City Clerk Duarte, do we have the proof of publication?
We do, Mayor.
Can I have a motion and a second to receive and file the publication?
I'll make a motion.
Second.
City Clerk Duarte, can I have a roll call, please?
Councilmember Alvarez is excused. Councilmember Ashton?
Yes.
Councilmember Trujillo? Yes. Mayor Pro Tem Pacheco?
Yes.
And Mayor Frometa?
Yes.
The motion is approved unanimously.
City Manager Livas, is there a staff report on this?
Madam Mayor, there is a staff report that will be provided by our Deputy Public Works Director, Edwin Norris.
Good evening, Madam Mayor, members of the City Council, City Manager Livas, and staff. The petition was received from the residents of the 10,800 and 10,900 block of Newville Avenue between Ardeen and La Villa Streets for the establishment of a preferential parking district and a no parking at any time parking prohibition to provide on-street parking relief for the residents of the street block where on-street parking conditions have become impacted due to parking overflow from other nearby uses and creating other nuisances from the residents as well. Staff confirmed that the criteria for the establishment of the new preferential parking district at this location was met in accordance with Section 3199.6, subsection C, Part 2 of the Downey Municipal Code as follows. A parking occupancy study was conducted with the assistance of the Police Department on March 2nd and March 4th, 2020, between the hours of 11 p.m. and 6 a.m., confirmed that at least 76% of the on-street parking spaces were occupied at the time of the survey, and that at least 82% of the parked vehicles registered to non-residents. The petition received from the residents confirmed that at least 75% of the owners of the properties were in support of the proposed preferential parking district, with two of the residential properties located at 10824 and 10831 Newville Avenue opting not to be a part of the proposed preferential parking district, and hence said properties were excluded. This is a map of the proposed boundaries of the preferential parking district and is also part of the staff report before you this evening. Just to show where those two properties are located. Is this working? This is 10824 Newville Avenue and 10831 Newville Avenue, located on either side of the street on the north end of the district boundaries. Finally, staff confirmed that the proposed boundaries of the preferential parking district will reasonably result in a self-contained area, and therefore staff recommends the adoption of the attached resolution in your staff reports, which will officially establish the new preferential parking district. Upon verification that at least 50% of the residential properties apply for permits within 60 days of the adoption of the resolution, signs will then be posted on the block effectuating the new district and accompanying parking prohibition. Up to 2 residential permits and 1 guest permit per household may then be purchased by residents residing within the district. If fewer than 50% of the residents obtain permits, or if the number of permit holders falls below 50%, however, the City Council may repeal the residential preferential parking district during a public hearing noticed at least 10 days in advance. This concludes my report, and I'm available to answer any questions.
I had a question.
Yes.
Do we know why they're having issues with parking? Is there an apartment complex nearby? Is it because of the park?
Yes. This shows a larger map, kind of zoomed out, but here's the proposed boundaries of the preferential parking district in question. As you can see, there are other nearby uses such as Rio San Gabriel Park, Champion Dodge, and high residential parking here on Newville Avenue, which are potential contributors to the on-street parking overflow on the 10,800 and 900 blocks of Newville Avenue. So during the day, it's basically a 24/7 issue. It's during the day, there's potentially, for instance, employees from Champion Dodge parking there, and at night, and then during the weekends in the evenings when there's events going on at Rio San Gabriel Park, there's parking overflow, as well as at night, the high density residential, which, similar to a lot of other apartment buildings throughout the city, the parking demand exceeds the supply, and so therefore there is parking overflow onto adjacent residential street blocks.
I have a couple of questions, if I may. Do we, are these preferential parking permits going to be given, how many per household? Or are we going to limit a certain amount per household? And will these be, again, for 24 hours a day, 365 days of the year?
Up to 2 residential permits per household can be issued per household. Residential permits are vehicle specific, and they're decals that are affixed to the rear bumper of the vehicle. And then also, in addition to that, each household is entitled to 1 guest permit, which is transferable from vehicle to vehicle and comes in the form of a hang tag that you put on your rear view mirror. And yes, the permits are good, yes, year round, and they are $50 per permit to purchase. And they're prorated quarterly, depending on what time of year you purchase the permits.
Now, how we've done this in other areas that are also heavily impacted, whether it is with high density apartment complexes, but also as we look at this, the proximity to the park with the rest of our city parks, I know that has been a concern, and some of the residents have brought that concern to us in the past. So by doing this in this particular location, then are we setting then a precedent for the rest of the high density areas as well as our adjacent parks?
Yes, to answer your question, Madam Mayor, this will be the 4th preferential parking district if it is passed by tonight. This will be the 4th preferential parking district to be implemented, established within the city. The other 3 districts were formed because of their close proximity also to high residential housing, which caused overflow onto the adjacent streets. And this will be the first district implemented in the vicinity of a park.
Regarding this item?
Is this it? I'm concerned about the residents in the high-density apartment buildings. My understanding is that they're allotted 1 parking spot per unit. So while I understand that this preferential parking area will give relief to the, what appear to be single-family residences. What happens to all our residents in Newville Avenue on these apartments that need parking? Is there any way we can make that parking lot for the city, though that's a city parking lot, right? Is there any way we could give them relief by allowing residents, perhaps through a permit process, to be able to park their vehicles there, maybe after the park hours, when the park closes, maybe for relief at night?
Let me go through a couple of things. First of all, you are correct that they're multifamily apartment complexes. Most of them that were built in the 60s and some in the 70s and some even earlier only had one parking spot. At that particular time, you know, the average family only had one parking or one car per family. Now, you know, you have apartment dwellers that have 3 or 4 cars. We've had a challenge with, you know, roughly 40% of the units in the city of Downey, multifamily units, constructed in that manner, that we don't have enough parking. And so essentially what you're doing in many cases is, that's correct. You're solving one problem and spreading it to another part of the community somewhere else, because you will have that. You know, that said, I understand that there's some issues, you know, with those single family residences, not being able to have trash picked up, things of that nature. As far as having the park facility, I guess one of the challenges that we would have is securing the park after hours. And so how do you secure that, making sure that it's open and closed at an appropriate time? Because one of the challenges we've been having was people loitering in the parks, and so, you know, making that distinction between, you know, who can park there and who isn't. So that's a little bit of a challenge. Not that it can be looked at, and we will certainly take a look at it, but that's not always an easy problem to solve. Parking issues are, I will tell you, one of the most difficult issues to solve, and because when you solve one issue, you've basically pushed it to another part of the neighborhood. And so that is certainly something we can look at. We'll take a look at the Rio Hondo Park as a potential site. And, you know, I can't answer that now. I don't know. But we'll take a look and see what the logistics of that is, and then we can report back to you whether that's a feasible alternative or not.
If I could add, maybe if residents in these apartments could buy like one, make that a preferential parking lot, right? Allow the apartment complex residents to buy one per unit, and you put a swing arm, some sort of mechanism that allows them to go in and out, swing arm, so they could park there at least overnight. I'm just concerned about those Palmer residents.
Yeah, no, it's a real challenge. And so we'll look at all those things, and obviously those alternatives in terms of the swing arm will cost some money, but we will take a look and we'll report back to you.
Okay. And then I heard that maybe employees of the dealership are using these parking spots. Is there any way we can regulate that? I mean,
yeah, in terms of if in fact the employees are parking there, we can reach out to Champion and have them, you know, to make sure that they're parking on their own facility and not parking on the street. So we can certainly reach out through them. And so I'll have our community development director, Aldo Schindler, our deputy city manager, actually, reach out to them.
thank you.
Any more comments, questions? Yeah, we'll now open this item for public comment. Members of the public wishing to address the City Council regarding the public hearing item may now call our teleconference line at 562-299-6622. For those who submitted comments via email, your comments will be read into the record, and no further public comment via teleconference will be permitted. City Clerk Duarte, did we receive any written correspondence to be read into the record?
Yes, Mayor, we have one letter. The letter is from Charlotte Corniff. I am writing regarding a notice of public hearing regarding a proposed preferential permit street parking on the above referenced street, 10,800 through 10,800 through 10,900 Newville Avenue. My concern is the impact preferential parking will have on the many residents and apartments in the next block of Newville Avenue. The single-family homes on 10,800 through 10,900 Newville Avenue have ample parking on each property. About 80% of the homes have double-car garages with driveways which can accommodate at least 3 vehicles. 2 of the homes have single-car garages and driveways which can accommodate at least 2 vehicles. The apartment properties on 11,000 through 11,121 Newville Avenue have limited on-property parking for 1 vehicle per unit. These properties cannot accommodate additional parking due to limited lot size space and due to fire code parking ordinances. At the time these apartments were built, most households had only 1 vehicle. At one time, overflow parking was available for Newville homeowners and apartment tenants at Rio San Gabriel Park at the 11,000 end of Newville Avenue. Subsequently, the parking lot at this park is now locked in the evening and overnight hours. Apartment tenants have only the streets of Ardeen Street, adjoining side streets, and 10,800 through 11,121 Newville Avenue on which to park. Street parking on Newville from Firestone Boulevard to Ardeen is full all hours of the day. Requiring permit-only parking on any portion of Newville from Firestone up to La Villa will result in tenants' inability to park within walking distance to their home and ultimately in a loss of tenants and income to the apartment owners. The Dodge dealership employee and customer vehicles have also impacted the parking spaces available between Firestone Boulevard and Ardeen Avenue. Apartments on Newville are all owned by individuals as small family businesses which provide a single source of income. The tenants of Downey apartment owners have as much right to access and utilize the streets of Downey for driving and parking as any other resident of this city. We pay City of Downey business license tax, gasoline, and street taxes and property tax. Perhaps another solution would be to allow overnight parking in the Rio San Gabriel Park parking lot and allow the impacted residents to purchase 1 preferential parking permit per household. That is the only correspondence we received, Mayor. We do have some calls.
Okay, may I please have the first speaker on the phone?
Yes. Please state your name and begin speaking.
Downey requested that we contact the police department if we observed any crimes that are committed, which we have. Employees drinking, possibly smoking marijuana during their lunch breaks on our street. So therefore, Downey police came to talk to some of us, and I believe they went to go talk to Champion. Still, Champion employees continue parking on our street. Now, in regards to the overflow plugging from apartment complexes, that's been an ongoing problem. I pay my city taxes. I cannot park in front of my own home, like most of the residents here on Newville. This has been ongoing request for the past year. There has been literally no action at times when residents from the apartments park in front of my home. They do maintenance work. I have to contact the police at times to ask them to come and not do maintenance work in front of my home or park throughout the weekend in front of my house. It is used as an overflow parking lot in our block, and we've been city to assist us with this matter for the past year. So I'm very happy that it's got to this point. There seems like there's a lot of questions involved. I mean, I live here. I can tell you the things I've witnessed. I've witnessed, you know, we talk about human trafficking. I've seen, you know, various cars parked here and involved in illicit activities. I think we have preferential parking. It's going to limit the traffic flow on the street. It can allow residents to park in front of their own homes. So, I mean, is there any questions as a resident that lives here that has to deal with this? I guess I'm stating what, you know, I'd like to report to the city council, but is there any questions I can answer?
We can't.
Well, I guess I'll make some other comments then. So from what I understand, talking to some residents that have lived in Downey for the past couple of decades, those 14 apartment complexes down the street where we get the majority of the overflow parked on our street, initially I believe those apartments were for senior
Time's
housing
up.
where there wasn't a lot of vehicles required.
Mr. Trent, your time is up, so we have to move on to the next caller.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you.
Yes, good evening. Go ahead and start speaking.
Hi, good evening. My name is Nancy Paredes. I live at 10903 Newville Avenue. I wanted to address a few of the concerns that City Council brought up. The issue that we're having with parking is not just because of Rio San Gabriel Park, but in addition, as mentioned, Champion Dealership and the 14 individual apartment buildings that follow on this street. Now, we struggle with having parking. Before COVID times, having family over was impossible. My elderly mother has had to park far away because she can't find parking on our street. There really needs to be other options for the apartments, but that option should not be them parking on our street. There is one of many individuals that at the apartment building that owns about 5 vehicles, and those vehicles will be parked all at one time on our street. I can definitely empathize with the apartment building owners as far as them losing tenants. However, they need to do a better job of maybe handling the tenants and how many vehicles each tenant has in order to accommodate them. As far as Champion, I have been told by the city of Downey that you cannot go to Champion and tell them not to park here because it's a public street. But now I heard Mr. Norris say differently. I have pictures of Championship employees parking on our street. They have the uniform on, and I provided that to the city already. I have multiple pictures of cars blocking our driveway and we can't get out. We have to call the police, which is a waste of resources. The park is open overnight. So whoever wrote in saying that the park is locked, that park is never locked. That park is full to capacity from apartment building tenants parking there. There is an empty lot, as the other individual also mentioned. It would be wise for the city to maybe look into making that a lot, which is already, if you were to drive by that lot right now, you'll probably see 4 or 5 cars that already parked there anyways. So it's really a problem on Newville. It's a safety issue. And I'm sure that City Council, if this was you in this predicament, you would be able to empathize with us. So I really implore you to take our concerns into mind and really look at providing us with preferential parking. Thank you for your time.
Please state your name and begin speaking.
It's me, Mommy. I'm back again. Mommy broke his child, yes. Oh, he wanted to take away Dorothy from my favorite dealership in the whole world. Champion, fuck you. Champion employees should be able to park their cars on that street any goddamn time they want. They provide you sales tax money. They employ people. And they don't treat you like Sean Astin treats Mr. Herman as a quasi official nigger. They treat you like a human. None of this preferential parking bullshit. And yes, the first come, first serve
Yeah.
parking. As Ywca Pacheco says, Candian and Dora say Downey, but you buy it Downey is a sack of shit, and you must rely on your own devices to park your car on the fucking street without it being towed away by the police chief. Don't blame him. And by the way, why hasn't the police chief received his new Maserati so that he can get a preferential parking sticker for his Maserati? You promised, Ywca. You promised. And he's driving a 2011 Chevy Spark Electric. We can't have our police chief driving that piece of shit down the street. Our chief wants to treat him right. Trump, Trump, and more Trump will come, and we will all be on Twitter. We will all be on Parler, sitting in our cars, no preferential parking, living in our homes, which are going to be our trucks. And Mr. Herman will guide us forward as we live, work, play in Downey, and exercise our First Amendment right to freedom to express our popular rage against the machine. So yes, you targeted the Champion dealership. You need to publicly apologize.
Please state your name and begin speaking.
Hello, am I on?
Yes, go ahead.
I'm back, you punks. Call unite, not tonight. That's the acronym for punch. Now let me remind you, preferential parking is like discrimination parking. And the problem, why the fuck you have Mr. Stoner telling you dickhead something while I'm speaking over him? Are you fucking stupid? Now you hear me, bitch?
Hello, please state your name and begin speaking. Hello? Hello, can you hear me?
Next speaker. That's it.
Is that it? Okay. Thank you, City Clerk. I will entertain a motion in a second to close the public hearing.
I had a question. On one of on the agenda, on one of the petitions, it has a red line across. Is there a reason? It's under 10824 Newville. This would be Actually, a couple of them. One of them has it across the signature.
Yes, if I may, council member. As I stated before, there were two properties that opted not to be part of the preferential parking district, 10824 and 10831 Newville Avenue. Those are the two properties located at the north end of either side of the block. And so that's why they were crossed out from the petition.
So originally 10824 was an agreement and then they changed their mind?
They were never in agreement.
Because
and
I
we were
noticed that it has a signature on 10824 and then it's crossed out.
That was, we were never able to make contact with the property owner. And regardless of whether they vote yes or no, they're still required to sign the petition.
Because I see it under, it looks like they signed it. Because I see 10831 and there's no signature and it's just crossed out. But then I see 10824 and there is a signature and it's crossed out. And that's, let's see.
Mayor Pro Tem, I think he said that regardless of if they're in agreement or not, they're required to sign the petition.
But it looks like they signed it.
Yeah, that's what he's saying, that regardless.
Right.
Oh, okay.
They didn't check the yes box.
Right. They're required to sign it.
If there's no other comments from our council colleagues, I will now entertain a motion in a second to close the public hearing.
I'll make a motion.
I'll second. So ordered by the mayor. City Clerk Duarte, can I have a roll call, please?
Oh, did we make a motion to close public comment or make a motion?
Unless there are any other comments from the council, this will be the time to make a motion and a second to adopt the resolution.
Thank you. Yes, unless there are any other comments from the council, I will now entertain a motion to second and adopt the resolution.
I'm sorry, who made the motion?
I'll make the motion.
Okay. Second. Thank you. Councilmember Alvarez is excused. Councilmember Ashton?
Yes.
Councilmember Trujillo?
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Pacheco?
Yes.
And Mayor Frometa.
Yes.
The motion is approved with Councilmember Alvarez absent, excused.
Okay, now is the time for non-agenda public comment. Before we begin the non-agenda public comment period, I would like to remind members of the public participating telephonically that the city's meeting rules contained in the Downey Municipal Code prohibit any conduct that disrupts, disturbs, or interferes with the orderly conduct of the meeting, even if you are participating telephonically. Each speaker shall have 3 minutes to address the council on issues that are within the city's jurisdiction. Since we are under a federal, state, and local emergency declaration in Los Angeles County's Safer at Work and in the Community Order, I will limit this non-agenda public comment period to 30 minutes pursuant to the Downey Municipal Code, Section 2105G. Members of the public who wish to address the City Council regarding non-agenda items may now call our teleconference phone line at 562-299-6622. For those who submitted comments via email, your comments will be read into the record and no further public comment via teleconference will be permitted. City Clerk Duarte, did we receive any written correspondence on non-agenda items that to be read into the record?
Yes, Mayor, we have some emails that we received. The first email is from Raul Garcia. Claudia exhibits character, poise, integrity, passion, and the fortitude to be mayor of Downey. At your service, Raul Ernesto Garcia. Next, we have an email from Javier Munoz. Congratulations, Claudia Frometa, for being inaugurated as Downey's new mayor. I am a proud Downey resident for 28 years and local business owner for 16 years. I'm excited with the progress the city has made in recent years and looking forward in your leadership. in maintaining our community and quality of life. Best wishes to you, your family, and the rest of the council in the holiday season. Javier Munoz and family. Next email is from Sean Dawes. A huge congratulations to you. As you stated, in these unprecedented times, there is opportunity. I, along with many, many others, know that you will do great things for your city. Your story has been one of extreme hardships, but with your determination and with God's assistance, you are now in a position of renown. I know that God will guide you in this new endeavor and your city will flourish through your leadership. Despite the hardships ahead, you have your Heavenly Father, your loving family, and dedicated partners to carry you through. You are never alone. God bless you, and I am so very proud of you. Next, we have an email from Arthur Young regarding timeline of unprofessional behavior by workers from Downey Water Department, Tuesday, December 15, 2020. About 9:55 a.m., I received a call from my neighbor who lives directly across the street concerning man acting suspiciously at 9127 Sherrydale Avenue. Catherine Dahl is a 94-year-old original owner of the house with health issues who lives alone since her husband passed in 2011. About 9:56 a.m., I am getting telephone calls from tenants located at 9133 Sherrydale and as well as from Mrs. Dahl, located at 9127 Sherrydale Avenue. While taking a statement from my neighbor who made the first call, I see 2 trucks parked on street from Downey Public Works, but no personnel in sight. I contacted the city and spoke to Candace from the Public Works Department, who does not know of any job order for Sherrydale Avenue. I called Downey 911, who lectured me to call dispatch, gave reasons for not responding for assistance. About 10:13 a.m., Candace from the Downey Public Works Department calls back to advise it is a water department job and transfers the call. I speak with Supervisor Anthony Gonzalez, who explained water meter job. I tell him there are no meters located at 9127. I explained how Ms. Dahl was in the bathroom shower when his people rang her doorbell and pounded on her door. He goes on to blame Mrs. Dahl for causing her own distress by not answering her doorbell. I ended the call as soon as possible. I am addressing the City Council and wish that my timeline and comments for improvement be placed into the record at the next meeting. If city workers need to access a property for any emergency or repair, why not locate and advise the owners, tenants a day before or contact via telephone? Why are the city employees and their vehicles not properly identified? Trucks are marked Public Works, not Water Department. Why do neighbors call neighbors for help first instead of contacting 911? Could it be the lack of response from 911 dispatch? As a concerned resident and part-time caregiver to Mrs. Dahl, who takes the time and effort to contact Supervisor Gonzalez, the subject cannot remove himself from his desk and visit the job site to properly evaluate the situation and take statements from involved, as well as ensure his people are acting and working in a professional manner. We are located a 5 to 7 minute drive from City Hall, depending on traffic. Finally, the council needs to address the issue of Water Department providing misinformation to tenants located at 9133 Sherrydale Avenue. Next, we have an email from Denise Whitney. I would like to address and come up with solutions to the entertainment of illegal fireworks before another July 4th is here. And last, we have a letter from Mr. Lee Squire. Public participation, 1/12/2021, Lee Squire, Vietnam veteran, nonpartisan. Good evening, Mayor and City Council. Subject, censorship of free speech. I am asking City Council to speak up against what appears to be attacks of free speech, conservatives, and the censorship by big tech media. All avenues of free speech should be respected, but must never condone violence or engage in violence. The City Council swore oath to protect and defend U.S. Constitution that includes free speech by all of we the people of City of Downey. I swore similar oath that I still observe to this day. I ask that you remember 23 from City of Downey who died defending the Constitution during the Vietnam War.
Speakers on the phone, City Clerk.
Yes, Mayor, we do.
May I first have the first speaker?
Hello, please state your name and begin speaking. Please state your name and begin speaking. Yes, go ahead.
Yes, this is Joey from the state of Downey. I got two things to say. Sorry. One thing I want to begin with is by saying, Ms. Alvarez, if you are sent information in regards to the city and its business or what happens in our city, you should be open to receiving that information and you should be open to working with your community members to make sure that that information is properly to improve our community, your constituents' life, and our city. All right, now here comes the real part. You have a lot of nerve to have a council member like Mari Trujillo still sitting in that podium. Mr. Trujillo went behind the back of a prosecutor and a defendant to give a sweetheart deal of 7 years to a gang murderer who killed someone like Fernando Rojo. Fernando Rojo was a kid of 26 years old. That's no different from how your kid is, Mr. Trujillo. Imagine you getting 7 years to someone for murdering and taking the life of another person. Rojo's life is not 7 years worth. And how you were able to go behind the judge, the defendant, and the prosecutor to offer up a sweetheart deal, that in itself should be criminally investigated. Now, Gaston has two options. He can either say that he was well aware of your actions and take the fall, or he can do the next best thing for his career and fire your ass and say that you acted on your own accord. I suggest he does that route. But either way, I know Mr. Gaston and Mario Trujillo are both criminal attorneys that only serve their own greedy needs. Mr. Trujillo, so long as you are staying in that council and behaving like a criminal, you will get called out. Your actions as an attorney is despicable, and when people make the statement, Jackie Lacey had to go, people need to remember who was their lapdog. You were Jackie Lacey's deputy attorney for most of her career. So her failings are no different from your inactions while serving under her, and now with this criminal corruption where you are undermining and enforcing your own version of the law. That is the type of criminal you are, and that is the type of criminality you want to bring to Downey to improve your own businesses. If everyone can recall, when he was asked during the debate about making decisions in the 3rd District, knowing he had conflicts of interest, people will notice that he was still eager to take action.
Please state your name and begin speaking. Hello? Your time is running. Mr. Herman, you have 25 seconds. Hello, please state your name and begin speaking. Please state your name and begin speaking. Please state your name and begin speaking.
I speak tonight about a non-agenda item. However, the issues I bring up should be kept in the minds of the City Council as you move forward in 2021. You have sworn to uphold the U.S. Constitution. The Constitution is the framework we expect our elected officials to understand. But as I watch the news now, I see that the blessings of liberty no longer seem to be what politicians seek to protect. They appear too often to pursue power and fall prey to corruption. Based on what I have witnessed firsthand in my simple lifetime, I can now clearly see that the government has lost its moral compass and is losing its moral authority. No free person is obliged to follow the dictates of a corrupt leadership which brings more fear than knowledge to its people and more harm to its economy than good. I hope you are able to think about the role of government, the importance of liberty, and the promise of individual rights this country represents during this year as you make policy in the new year. Have a happy new year, and thank you for your time today.
Please state your name and begin speaking.
Hello. Can you check on the sound because we cannot hear anything? Hello. Eres Paula Mejia, and I'm just calling to let you know that we cannot hear anything of the comments. And I'm sure you guys don't hear anything either because I'm watching it here. But if you could correct that sound, please, because there's been several people speaking and we don't hear anything. I would appreciate if you can fix that sound in there, please.
Okay, thank you, Ms. Mejia. Can you hear me?
I can hear you now.
Okay, we can hear everyone that's called in.
But, okay, yes, I can hear you now. Okay.
I think you're listening to your computer and it's delayed, so you should lower the volume on your computer. Do you have a comment to give other than letting us know about the sound?
Okay, but you said you fixed it already. I'll check on that. I just wanted to make you aware that we could not hear anything, okay? So that was my call. So thank you. I appreciate it.
Thank you.
Okay, bye.
Please state your name and begin speaking. Go ahead.
I don't understand what this person's saying. If he's speaking English, doesn't sound like it. Speaker, please speak clearly, or else we're going to cut you off.
So you have translate Korea. I just in part of Korea. Okay, I thought Korea.
You know what? We need to end the call. Yeah. End the call. Thank you.
Make a motion to close public comment.
Second that. Now is the time for consent calendar items. Members of the public wishing to address the City Council regarding consent calendar items only may now call our teleconference line at 562-299-6622. For those who submitted comments via email, your comments will be read into the record, and no further public comment via teleconference will be permitted. City Clerk Duarte, did we receive any written correspondence on consent calendars?
We did not, Mayor.
Do we have any speakers on the phone?
Yes, Mayor. It's the Korean person. Please state your name and begin speaking.
Yeah.
This is not on consent. Please stay on topic, or we're going to have to disconnect the call. Thank you.
Item fucking number 2. Fuck the approved minutes. The special meeting. Fuck the special meeting. Item number 3. The warrants. The warrants are many. Too much money going out. No on number 3. Number 4. An award of a contract. Stop this now. Telegraph road throughput safety. Give the money to every street vendor in Downey that has been beaten by the Downey Police Department in the last 14 years because they're non-white. Number 7. Fuck number 7. Concrete repairs. Use asphalt and fill it in with mud. Thank you, Mommy Blanca. That was a good idea. Number 8. Award $308,000 to Hardy and Harper. Yes, they're very handy and they're very hard. Number 9. The pipeline contractors. You have to pay them. Otherwise, if you don't pay your plumber and you flush your toilet, you will have shit all over the floor. Number 10. $295,000 to paving Onyx. Same shit. And then we have appointments. Support the appointment of Armando Herman to the City Public Works Committee. Thank you. Support the appointment of Jack Humphreyville to the Public Works Committee. Appoint to the Building Appeals District 3 anybody that...
I'm sorry, Madam Mayor. I've received a couple of messages from two people saying that there is something wrong with the audio. They can hear us perfectly fine, but they can't hear the speakers when they call in. It sounds like the audio for when the speakers are calling in, it sounds like it's very low.
Can we take a look at that? Should we take a 3-minute recess?
We can take a
Alvin, is there one of the issues that we're having, folks, is a lot of times it's not even us, it's the host. So, Alvin, do you know?
Madam Mayor, yeah, we noticed that on the YouTube side of it, when during the public comment, it's not coming through as loud and clear as we would like. You still could hear it because I'm monitoring it, but it's not as loud and clear. The users might have to turn it up on their end for this particular meeting. We're going to address that and look into this a little further.
Okay, thank you. Thank you, Alvin. So for callers, we then advise them to turn on the volume or turn it up if they're listening through their computer device on YouTube, the YouTube channel. Okay.
On the Zoom side, it's okay, right?
Okay. Thank you. Thank you, Madam Mayor Pro Tem, for bringing that issue up too. Any more callers?
We have one more call. Please state your name and begin speaking.
Herman.
Budget.
Okay. Thank you. Can I have are there any council members that would like to remove or abstain from an item?
Madam Mayor, I need to abstain from item number 10 as this project is within 1,000 feet of my home.
Madam Mayor, I also need to abstain from item number 10. It's within my home, and I'd like to pull item number 26.
Madam Mayor, I also need to abstain from item number 7, as that is 500 feet from my home. And I believe I also need to abstain from item number 11, as I have a close personal relationship with the individual that Mayor Pro Tem Pacheco is asking to appoint.
Item number 10, we don't have enough votes. We've got 4 council members, 2 have to abstain, so we can't take action on 10. Is that a problem? Well, I guess we don't really have a choice. So we'll continue item 10.
So is it because my home is really close to District 2?
Yes. The boundaries of the project is what's causing the distance between your home and the boundaries of the project is what's causing the conflict. So we'll just wait till
Then we'll just
the
table
next
number 10.
meeting, number 10. Yes.
So far, we have abstentions for number 7 and number 11. Is that correct? We're tabling number 10 and we're pulling number 26.
Yes, Mayor. Is there a motion? Can you ask for a motion in a
Yes,
second?
is there a motion and a second to approve the consent calendar with the abstentions, the tabled and the pulled item?
I'll make that
I'll
motion.
make the motion.
Then I'll second.
Okay. City Clerk Duarte, would you please take roll?
Yes, Mayor. Councilmember Alvarez is excused. Councilmember Ashton?
Yes.
Councilmember Trujillo?
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Pacheco?
Yes.
And Mayor Frometa?
Yes.
The consent calendar is approved with Councilmember Trujillo abstaining from items 7 and 11. Councilmember Ashton pulling item number 26 for separate discussion, and item number 10 being tabled and continued to a future meeting,
The next meeting.
next regular scheduled meeting.
Okay, Councilmember Ashton, the floor is yours. You wanted to pull number 26?
Yeah, I just wanted to kind of hear from you, actually, Madam Mayor, about what thought process went into picking the assignments for this year.
The thought process, Councilmember Ashton, was reviewing who has served in previous commissions and committees, and certainly keeping in mind those that, for example, in your case, as the president of ICA, continuing to serve on that particular committee, as well as the COG and other committees that you have been very heavily involved and have represented our city. In regards to the other committees with our new council members, is also giving them an opportunity to come in and have an opportunity to serve in certain committees without being too overwhelmed. We understand the first year in office can be at times a little challenging, and so having an opportunity to spread out all of our efforts and representing our community well in the various committees.
So you mentioned the COG, and I was actually pulled from both of the committee assignments I had from the COG, and I was just wondering, why that was, because for the I-710, I was the primary on that, and the board of directors, I was the alternate, and I would have thought that, with former Councilmember Saab being the primary and myself being the alternate, I would move up to be the primary on that.
Yeah, Councilmember Ashton, on the 710, that was an oversight. You will continue to be the primary on that one. And on the other one, and I have to pull that item on my screen. Give me just a minute. Yes, the 710 was an oversight, and let's go ahead and put Councilmember Ashton.
Would Trujillo remain as the alternate?
Yes.
I think it has oh yeah, it has you.
For the 710.
Gateway Cities Council of Governments, COG. We have listed Mayor Pro Tem Pacheco as the primary and alternate Councilmember Trujillo. That's a Gateway Cities Council of Governments Board of Directors and Executive Committee.
That's correct. We are going to go ahead and change the Gateway Cities Council of Governments I-710 to Councilmember Ashton as a primary. And Madam Mayor Pro Tem, would you like to be the alternate for that?
I can be the alternate.
Thank you, Mayor. I appreciate the thought in adjusting this. I appreciate I know it's a lot of work to deal with, having sit in that chair myself, and I appreciate that the thought that you took in doing all of this. And, again, next year, last year on council, if there are other members that kind of want to step up in those roles, I think that'd be good. But for this year, I think it'd be good just to kind of continue on with what we've got. So thank you, Madam Mayor.
You're welcome,
No other
Councilmember
discussion.
Ashton.
I'll make the motion to approve that.
Is everybody okay with that? Okay.
With the changes.
With the changes.
Mayor, so the only change would be to the Gateway Cities I-710 Project Committee?
Yes.
Okay, and I have.
And then the executive board as well?
The executive board, Councilmember Ashton, it would be you as a primary and as the alternate, Mr. Trujillo, or Madam Mayor Pro Tem, Ms. Pacheco.
I can be the alternate.
Okay.
Okay. So it's the 710 and the board of directors. Thank you.
You're very welcome. Okay, so we are good with those two changes?
Yes, Mayor. I've noted them. Do we have a motion, Mayor?
Do we have a motion?
I'll make the
Councilmember
motion.
Ashton, make the motion.
And I'll second the motion.
Okay, I'll go ahead with the roll call. Councilmember Alvarez is excused. Councilmember Ashton,
Yes.
Councilmember Trujillo,
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Pacheco,
Yes.
and Mayor Frometa.
Yes.
The motion is approved with Councilmember Alvarez excused and the changes to the two agencies, appointing Councilmember Ashton as the primary and Councilmember Pacheco as the delegate for the I-710 committee, and then appointing Councilmember Ashton as the primary and Councilmember Trujillo as the delegate for the Gateway Cities COG Executive Committee.
Okay, City Manager Rivas, do we have any last words for tonight?
Yeah, just really quick. I know this consent item went by really quick, and during typical council meetings, you'd have people coming up talking about, what are we doing with our streets? Well, what you don't realize tonight is that we passed a lot of stuff that affects our streets and improves our streets. I mean, literally, hundreds of thousands of dollars. So I want to thank the staff and thank City Council for giving us direction on that. We'll continue to move forward. Most of the items tonight were on Public Works. So appreciate everybody's assistance on that. Thank you, Delfino, for your staff on that. And thank you, City Council. But those are the things that the public has come up for. And we got the new year started off right by getting a lot of these projects going. So thank you.
Thank you, City Manager Rivas. Now, the City Council meeting is now adjourned. We're going to take a couple moments in memory of Luigi Vernola, former mayor of City of Norwalk, Captain George Roque, Los Angeles County Fire Department, who died from coronavirus-related complications, Carlos Sotomayor Sr., and the lives lost due to COVID-19. A moment of silence, please. Meeting adjourned.